Hello students, today we will take up the fourth chapter, The Gentleman of the Jungle, from your textbook Many Worlds of Literature. This story, or as it is called the fable, is written by an African author, Jomo Kenyatta. It is in the form of fable because it gives us a moral or a message at the end of the story. The story is about the law of self preservation and the danger of friendship between unequals. It is also the story of imperial domination of the white races who entered the countries they colonized as friends and took it upon themselves to protect those who were less powerful than them. So, in this story, you will see that how the animals they become friendly with the human being, and at last they threw him out, and these human beings then they realize that they can use their brains, which is a gift to them, and thus rule over the animals. The moral of the story is, if you wish to protect your interest, you have to tap your own resources. You can draw on other morals as well, such as divide and rule or brains are stronger than brawn. So, this is a story of an elephant who had made friendship with a man, and one day, when a heavy thunderstorm broke out, the elephant went to his friend who had a little hut at the edge of the forest, and he requested him that if he would allow him to put his trunk inside the hut so that it could be protected from the torrential rain. The man, seeing that situation his friend was in, he replied, "Yes, he can put his trunk into the hut as he is big enough and won't come inside the hut himself." So the elephant gently pushed his trunk and then thanked him for giving him the place inside the hut. But slowly, what he did was he started pushing his head also inside, and finally he flung the man out in the rain and then lay down comfortably inside his friend's hut. Now, the man, when he asked for him to be let inside, he was refused, and so he started grumbling, and the animals in the forest heard the noise of the man and came to see what the matter was. They stood around listening to the heated argument between the man and his friend, the elephant. And in this turmoil came the lion, who was the king of the jungle, and he said that he does not allow the peace of his kingdom to be disturbed. On hearing this, the elephant, who was one of the high ministers in the jungle kingdom, he replied that, "My lord, there is no disturbance of peace in your kingdom. I have only been having a little discussion with my friend here as to the position of this little hut which your lordship sees me occupying." The lion, who wanted to have peace and tranquility in his kingdom, he replied in a noble voice, saying, "I command my ministers to appoint a commission of inquiry to go thoroughly into this matter and report accordingly." He then turned to the man and said, "You have done well by establishing friendship with my people, especially with the elephant, who is one of my honorable ministers of state. Do not grumble anymore. Your hut is not lost to you. Wait until the sitting of my imperial commission, and then you will be given a plenty of opportunity to state your case." Now, What happened was that the man who was pleased with the sweet words of the king of the jungle and he innocently waited for an opportunity where he could put his point. But the elephant, he was very cunning and he obeying the command of his master committed to appoint a commission of inquiry, and the following elders of the jungle were appointed to sit in the commission. First was Mr. Rhinoceros, second was Mr. Buffalo, third was Mr. Alligator, fourth was the Reverend Honorable Mr. Fox to act as the chairman because Fox is considered to be very clever, and Mr. Leopard to act as secretary to the commission. On seeing the man protested and asked it was not necessary to include in this commission a member from his side, but he was told that it was impossible, and then they started hearing the case. Now what happened was that the Reverend Honorable Mr. Elephant was first called. He came along with a superior air, brushing his tusk with the sapling which Mrs. Elephant had provided, and in an authoritative voice said, "Gentlemen of the jungle, there is no need for me to waste your valuable time in relating a story which I am sure you all know." He says that he invited the friend, that is the man invited him to save his hut from being blown away by a hurricane, which was a lie. But still the animals, they believed and what the elephant said, and they considered that elephant was right in his excuse that he was invited by his friends to protect him from being blown by the hurricane, and the space of the hut was not covered enough by the man, so the elephant helped him by covering the space with his trunk and head. Then they called the man, who began to give his account of dispute, but the commission cut him short and he was not allowed to explain in detail. They said, "My good man, please confine yourself to relevant issues. We have already heard the circumstances from various unbiased sources, and all we wish you to tell us is whether the undeveloped space in your hut was occupied by anyone else before Mr. Elephant." The man said no, but at this point the commission declared that they had heard sufficient evidence from both the sides and retired to consider the decision. And after enjoying a delicious meal at the expense of Reverend Honorable Mr. Elephant, they reached to their decision, and they called the man and declared as follows that in their opinion this dispute had arisen through a regrettable misunderstanding, and they considered that Mr. Elephant had fulfilled his sacred duty of protecting man's interest, as it is clearly for your good that the space should be put to its maximum use, and you yourself have not reached the stage of expansion which would enable you to fill it, so they considered it necessary to arrange a compromise to suit both parties, and Mr. Elephant shall continue his occupation of your hut, but we give you permission to look for a site where you can build another hut more suited to your needs. And then the man, having no choice and fearing that his refusal might expose him to the teeth and claws of the members of the commission, he agreed. But no sooner had he built another hut than Mr. Rhinoceros charged in with his horn and ordered the man to quit. So we see that the second hut was again occupied by the rhinoceros, and the man was left without any hut. He again constructed another hut, But this procedure was repeated until Mr. Buffalo, Mr. Leopard, Mr. Hannah, and the rest were all accommodated with new huts. Then the man decided that he must adopt an effective method of protection. Since the commissions of inquiry did not seem to be of any use to him, so he sat down and said that there is nothing that treads on the earth that cannot be trapped, or in other words, you can fool people for a time but not for ever. So early one morning, when the huts already occupied by the jungle lords were all beginning to decay and fall to pieces, he went out and built a bigger and better hut a little distance away. And no sooner had Rhinoceros seen it than he went rushing in, only to find that Mr. Elephant was already inside, sound asleep. Mr. Leopard came next to the window. Mr. Lion, Mr. Fox, Mr. Buffalo entered the doors, while Mr. Hannah howled for a place in the shade and Mr. Alligator basked on the roof. So, one by one, all the elements, so we see that all of them, they occupied the new hut which was constructed on a large scale. Presently, they all began disputing about their rights of entering into it, and from disputing they came to fighting, and while they were all embroiled together, the man set the hut on fire and burnt it to the ground. So all of the animals, they were burnt along with the hut. Then he went home saying, peace is costly, but it is worth the expense, and lived heavily ever after. Means the animals, they were all destroyed by the brains of the man. As they could not be defeated in strength, the man was not competent enough, but in brains he was far superior than animals, and he used his brains, used the policy of divide and rule.